The river bleeds. Not with water, but with the precious, silty trickle that remains of its lifeblood. On either side of the muddy banks, under the oppressive heat of the late Pleistocene sun, two clans face each other. They are not armies, but ragged collections of desperate fathers and sons, armed with fire-hardened spears and the murderous conviction that comes with thirst. This is a battle for the last dregs of life in a dying valley. From the deeper pool where the water still holds, is the true king of this domain. A ridge of bone and sail. The dorsal spine of a Spinosaurus cuts the surface like a row of jagged knives. The great predator is the silent, patient god of this conflict. Its presence the reason this single stretch of river is the only place left to drink. Elan, leader of the Cliff clan, grips his spear. The knuckles of his hand are white. Across the mud, he sees the face of Gar, chief of the river runners. They have been killing each other over this patch of wet generation. A thrown rock finds a skull with a wet, sickening crack. A man from Phylan's clan goes down, his face a mask of surprise. The skirmish erupts, a chaotic, clumsy dance of jabbing spears and swinging clubs. There is no strategy here, only the raw, violent mathematics of survival. These are early humans fighting over a puddle at the feet of a monster, a perfect, brutal diorama of prehistoric life. Amid the grunts and screams, Elan sees an opening. A young hunter from Gar's clan, barely more than a boy, stumbles on the slick mud. He is isolated for a heartbeat, a fatal moment of imbalance. Elan moves, not with the killing rage of the others, but with a cold, predatory focus. He bypasses the boy's clumsy spear thrust, grabs his arm, then twists. The boy cries out as his shoulder pops from its socket. Phylan's men are on him in an instant, dragging the captive back to their side of the bank. The fight falters. The river runners see their kinsman captured, disarmed, a flint knife held to his throat. Gar roars in frustration, a sound of pure fury, but he knows the skirmish is lost. They retreat, melting back into the parched scrubland, leaving their son to the enemy. The Cliff clan has won the water for now. They drink cautiously, their eyes darting between the defeated clan's path and the unmoving sail in the deep water. They have the boy their prize. The law of the ancestors is simple: an enemy captured is an enemy to be killed. It cleanses the spirit and sends a message. The boy, shaking with fear and pain, is thrown to the ground before Elan. The hunters look to their leader. The hunters look to their leader. The hunters look to their leader. Their faces flush with victory. Expecting the order to finish it. But Elan does not give the order. He stares at the captive, at his youthful, terrified face. He looks at his own thirsty clan. He looks towards the ridge where Gar's people vanished. A dead boy is a reason for another fight tomorrow and the day after. But a living boy is something else entirely. In a world defined by the violent taking of life, a new radical thought begins to form in Phylan's mind, a concept that will forever alter the course of hominid history. The boy lies whimpering in the dust, the dislocated arm a grotesque angle against his body. The hunter holding the flint knife to his throat, a man named Bor, looks to Elan, his eyes hungry for the final command. The kill is the final note in the song of victory, a tradition as old as their oldest ancestor. But Elan raises a hand, palm open. The gesture is not a command to strike, but to wait. A murmur of confusion ripples through the men. This is not how it is done. The law of blood is absolute. He is Gar's son. Bor growls, his voice low. Let Gar see his blood in the mud. It is the only message he will understand. Elan shakes his head, his mind racing. He is trying to grasp a thought that has no shape, no precedent. A message of blood will be answered with blood, Elan says, his voice quiet but carrying an authority that silences the dissent. Our thirst will not be quenched by his death. He walks over to the captive. The boy flinches, expecting the end, but the leather cord that binds a small, polished river stone around his neck. He holds up the amulet. This life, he says, his voice gaining strength, is more valuable than his death. The hunters stare at him as if he has gone mad. To show mercy is to show weakness. But F.A. Eland is not speaking of mercy. He is speaking of value, a new and terrible currency. He calls for an empty water skin. He ties the boy's amulet to its mouth, then gives it to a young, swift runner. Leave this on the high rock, where they will see it, then return. Do not wait for an answer. This is an act of symbolic thought so profound it borders on madness. There is no word for hostage. There is no concept for ransom. F.A. Eland is inventing a language of coercion on the fly, a message crafted from an empty vessel in the captured life. The runner vanishes into the heat haze. The clan waits. The day drags on, each moment stretching into an agony of suspense. They have the water, but they do not drink freely. The captive is bound and gagged, his presence a constant, nagging question at the heart of their camp. Phylan's gamble has infected them all. He has broken the sacred rhythm of violence, and no one knows what comes next. He is betting everything on the faint hope of reciprocity, the belief that even an enemy will understand the logic of a trade when a son's life is the price. He is wagering that the social bond of a father to a son is a more powerful lever than the sharpest flint. As the sun begins its slow descent, casting long, menacing shadows across the valley, a horn sounds from the distant ridge. It is not the call to attack, it is the call to parley. The meeting takes place on a neutral patch of cracked earth, halfway between the river and the ridge. F.A. Eland brings 3 of his best men and the captive, a knife still held near his throat as a constant, brutal reminder of the stakes. Gar comes with 4 warriors, his face a thundercloud of rage and anguish. Behind them, in the river, the sail of the Spinosaurus glides slowly back and forth, a silent, monstrous witness to the birth of diplomacy. This is no longer a simple fight. A tense theater of power and desperation, a primitive form of social contract being written in the dust. For a full moon, F.A. Eland demands, "You will not drink here. You will not drink here. You will bring us to kills from your own hunts. Do this and the boy lives." Gar's hand tightens on his spear. The tribute is a deep humiliation. For a moment it seems he will choose pride over his son's life. "Let us kill the beast together," he counters, his voice a low growl. "The meat will feed both our crowns. The river will be free." It is a startling counteroffer. An alliance. F.A. Eland is momentarily stunned. The idea of cooperating with the enemy is as alien as his own idea of a hostage. But he sees the brutal logic. The Spinosaurus, with its pressure-sensitive neural crest and semi-aquatic dominance, is too powerful for one clan alone. F.A. Eland looks at Gar. He sees not just an enemy, but another father, another man burdened with the survival of his people. He looks at the boy, whose life has become the bridge between 2 impossible choices. Then he looks at the sail in the water. The true enemy, he nods, one hunt. Together. If we fail, the boy dies, and the tribute stands. If we succeed, the boy is returned, and the river is shared. Gar agrees. A truce, born of extortion and desperation, has been struck. They are no longer just 2 warring clans. They are now unwilling partners in a high-stakes gamble against a god of the river, their futures bound together by the life of a single terrified boy. Warfare is the engine of innovation. The spear, the axe, the arrow, all born from the need to kill more efficiently. But the greatest weapon ever conceived was not made of stone or wood. It was an idea, the realization that a life held in your hand could be a more powerful tool than a life taken. This was the moment conflict evolved from pure brutality into a complex, psychological chess match. It was the birth of leverage, of diplomacy, of the terrible art of using a person's love for their own against them. From this first crude hostage negotiation grew the entire architecture of our social world, the treaties, the laws, the fragile alliances. It was a profound and terrifying leap of human evolution, proving that the mind that could imagine a ransom was far more dangerous than the hand that could simply wield a stone. This is the chronicle of our ascent, not a grand march, but a desperate crawl, written in the language of stone, sinew, and stars. And some bargains are paid for in blood.